Everyday English for Hospitality Professionals. Copyright 2007, Compass Publishing Incorporated. All rights reserved. Unit 1. Before a guest checks in. 1. Taking a reservation by phone. Marin Carini called the Pine Ridge Hotel to make a reservation.
Pine Ridge Hotel.
Hi, I'd like to get a room for next month, please.
Pat asked for the dates of her stay.
And when will you be arriving?
She pulled up the hotel's reservation calendar on her computer terminal.
Let me check for you.
Pat asked how many people would be in Marin's party.
How many people?
Marin asked for a double queen room.
Could we please have a room with 2 queen beds?
Pat searched the reservation system for availability. She quoted Marin the room rate, and Marin wrote it down. Pat asked her to spell her last name and entered her details in the guest database. Marin gave her credit card number to hold the reservation.
The number is 1234.
Pat asked for the card's expiration date.
When does that expire?
Pat repeated the details of the booking.
That's 1 double queen room for 4 nights.
And read Marin a confirmation number to write down.
Your confirmation number is?
Pat checked that the guest was satisfied with the reservation.
Will there be anything else, Mrs. Carini?
And said goodbye.
See you on the 4th.
2. Revising a reservation.
Pat answered the phone.
Pine Ridge Hotel. How may I help you?
Marin asked if she could add a night to her reservation.
I have a reservation. I'd like to extend our stay by 1 day.
Pat looked up Marin's record in the database.
Just 1 moment, please.
Marin's room was already allocated to another guest.
Your room is already booked for Sunday the 7th. 1 moment.
Pat offered to upgrade Marin to a room with a sea view.
If you'd like, I could upgrade you to a sea view room throughout your stay. That's available through Sunday.
Marin agreed and Pat revised the reservation.
Sure, thank you.
Then she saved the changes.
3. Suggesting alternative accommodation. Mr. Johnson called the Pine Ridge Hotel to make a reservation.
July 16th for 1 night, please.
However, the hotel was fully booked. Pat explained that there were no rooms available.
I'm sorry, but we have no vacancies.
Because the hotel was hosting a large conference. Pat offered to put him on the waiting list for a room. She offered to find another hotel with a vacancy. Pat suggested that the Hilltop Inn might have some rooms. She gave Mr. Johnson the Hilltop's phone number.
Call 555-7722 and ask for Mrs. Gaines. She'll help you.
4. The guest's experience meeting a hotel representative at the airport.
When Mr. and Mrs. Porter exited the baggage claim area, they noticed Terry holding a sign with their name on it. They introduced themselves. Hi, we're Mr. and Mrs. Porter. Terry welcomed them to the city.
Oh, hello. I'm Terry from the Pine Ridge Hotel. Welcome to Turner City.
She offered to take their bags.
Here, let me take your bags.
She escorted the Porters to the hotel shuttle. She opened the passenger door for them.
There you go.
Thanks. And they climbed into the passenger compartment. They slid into one of the bench seats and buckled their seatbelts. Meanwhile, Terry loaded their bags into the back of the van. Terry climbed into the driver's seat and radioed the hotel that she was on the way.
Van 227, departing for the airport with Mr. and Mrs. Porter. ETA 4:35. Over. Copy that. 227 over.
On the way to the hotel, she told the Porters a few facts about the town.
And if you look to your right, you'll see the world headquarters of the Claycraft Company. World's largest maker of ceramic dishware, you know.
When they arrived at the hotel, The porters thanked her and gave her a tip.
Thanks for the ride.
My pleasure. Enjoy your stay at the Pine Ridge.
Unit 2. Checking guests in. 5. The guest's experience arriving at the hotel. The shuttle dropped Sam Monroe off in front of the hotel. Mr. Monroe tipped the driver.
Thank you, sir.
Don, the bellhop, took Mr. Monroe's bags.
Can I carry your bag, sir?
Sam followed Don through the revolving door and into the lobby. Don led Sam to the front desk. He rang the bell for service, and Sam gave him a tip. This is for you. 6. Welcoming a guest 1 with a reservation.
Alberto came out from the staff room and greeted the guest. Welcome to the Pine Ridge Hotel. Sam Monroe asked to check in.
I'd like to check in, please. I have a reservation.
Sam identified himself.
My name's Monroe, Sam Monroe.
Alberto logged in to his computer with his username and password. He entered Sam's confirmation number. Could I have your confirmation number, Mr. Monroe? He checked that the information in the system was correct. I have you down for 3 nights. Is that right?
Yes.
He confirmed that Mr. Monroe had a non-smoking room. And that's a non-smoking room.
7. Welcoming a guest 2 without a reservation. Sandra Randall waited in line at the front desk.
Enjoy your stay.
Pat apologized for the delay.
Sorry to keep you waiting, ma'am.
Sandra asked about a room for the night.
Do you have any vacancies for tonight?
Pat searched the hotel's room log for an available room. Pat suggested 2 possibilities.
A smoking king room or a non-smoking double.
Sandra chose the king room.
I'll take the king.
Pat created a new record for Sandra on the computer. 8. Securing the stay with a credit card.
Rob asked Sam to confirm the last 4 digits of the credit card in his record. Last 4 digits, 7144?
That's correct.
Sandra asked whether the hotel accepted American Express. Rob swiped Sam's credit card through the card reader. Pat took an imprint of Sandra's credit card as security. Both clerks explained to their guests that their credit cards would be charged when they checked out.
Do I need to sign?
That won't be necessary, sir.
Your card will be charged at checkout.
9. Filling out a registration form. Alberto printed out Mr. Monroe's details on a registration form. The software automatically filled in some of the fields. Sam corrected an error on the form. Sam did not have a car, so he wrote NA in the blank for a license plate number. Sam signed the form. 10. Escorting a guest to a room.
Don put Sandra's luggage on a trolley and wheeled it toward the elevators. They boarded the elevator, and Don pressed 19 for her floor. They got off at the 19th floor. Don led the way to her room and pointed out the exits. Exit stairways are at this end of the hall and at the other end. When they reached her room, Don pulled her key card from his pocket. He inserted it into the lock and opened the door.
11. Orienting a guest to a room. After opening the door, Don turned on the room lights. He motioned for Sandra to enter.
After you, ma'am.
Thanks.
Don unloaded the bags from the trolley and placed them near the luggage stand. Then Don pulled the drapes open. Then Don showed Sandra how to work the thermostat.
This thermostat controls the room temperature. To make the room cooler, press this down button.
Sandra asked Don to turn up the air conditioning.
Actually, the room is a bit warm. Can you give it more air conditioning?
Sure.
Then he showed Sandra the minibar.
And here is the minibar. Drinks and some snacks are available for purchase. The price list is on this card.
He pointed out the coffee maker.
And here's the self-serve coffee maker. It's complimentary, of course.
Then he opened the closet door and mentioned that extra blankets and pillows were stored there.
You'll find extra pillows and blankets here if you need them.
He also gave a brief introduction to using the in-room safe.
To use this safe, follow the instructions on the door. Please secure your valuables here whenever you leave the room.
Finally, he asked if Sandra had any questions.
Those are the basics. Can I answer any questions for you?
No, not now. I think I have it.
He encouraged her to call the front desk any time if she had questions.
Well, if you have any questions at all later on, please don't hesitate to call the front desk.
She thanked him and gave him a tip.
Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
12. Showing the guest how to get hotel information.
Sandra asked Dawn if there was a directory of hotel services.
How can I find out when things like the fitness center are open?
Dawn mentioned the hotel information channel on the TV. Channel 2 on your TV gives some information. He also showed Sandra the hotel information folder. But a more thorough list is in this folder. He opened the folder and pointed to the alphabetical list of services. Sandra looked up Fitness Center and found its hours.
Fitness center, daily 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Guest card required for entry.
Dawn told her about the community directory at the back of the folder. And at the end, you can see a list of banks, pizza places, churches, that sort of thing, and pointed out that the folder also contained complimentary stationery. There are also some writing materials here. He said that the concierge could provide any other information about services or community resources. If you have any questions during your stay, the concierge would be happy to answer them.
13. Dealing with a dissatisfied guest. Mr. Smith called the front desk to complain about his room.
Front desk.
I've got a serious problem with my room. Mr. Smith's family were dissatisfied because their room smelled like cigarette smoke. I reserved a non-smoking room, but this one reeks of smoke. The smell bothered their children, who were asthmatic. Alberto's computer showed no available non-smoking rooms. He consulted the duty manager, Maria.
Can you hold a moment, Mr. Smith?
Maria agreed to intervene.
I'll take care of it.
Alberto transferred the call to Maria's office.
This is the duty manager.
Yes, we need a different room. Maria found a non-smoking deluxe suite. She offered the Smiths a free upgrade. Maria showed Mr. Smith the new room and apologized.
I'm sorry for the inconvenience, Mr. Smith.
14. Checking in a large tour group.
A tour bus pulled up outside the hotel. The tour guide got off the bus first.
Wait here, please.
And went into the hotel. The tour guide checked in on behalf of the entire group.
I'd like to check in my group.
She and Alberto compared the group roster with the hotel's reservation list. Alberto gave the tour guide all the keys. Here are your group's keys. A bellhop unloaded the bags from the cargo hold and loaded them onto luggage trolleys. The guide distributed the key cards.
Mary Stone?
Unit 3. Hotel Services. 15. Helping a guest ship a parcel. Sam inquired at the front desk about shipping a parcel. How can I ship this? The hotel has accounts with several parcel delivery companies. He could send the package by airmail or by 2-day express service. Sam filled out an address label to go with his package. Alberto handed Sam a copy of the label with his tracking number. The computer calculated the shipping charge plus the service fee. Sam charged the cost to his room. 16. Parking a guest's car.
Ms. Parron's car pulled up in front of the hotel. After the driver's door opened, Terry held it open.
Welcome to the Pine Ridge Hotel, ma'am.
Dawn opened the passenger door and unloaded luggage from the trunk. Ms. Perrin gave Terry her keys and a tip. Terry got into the driver's seat. She adjusted the seat and the rear-view mirror. She buckled her seatbelt and put the car into drive. She drove into the parking garage. She turned the headlights on because the garage was dark. She drove down a ramp toward the valet parking spaces. She found an empty space and pulled into it. She put the car in park and set the parking brake. She turned the ignition off. Then she made sure the lights were off. A few minutes later, she gave the keys to the front desk.
Could you return these to Ms. Perrin?
Sure.
17. Laundry Services 1. The Hotel Laundry. A pair of Marin's pants had a stain on them. She opened the closet and took out the laundry bag. She put the pants in the bag and filled out the laundry form. She added the form to the bag of laundry. She left the bag outside her room. That evening, Susan, the housekeeper, collected the dirty laundry. Susan dropped off the clean clothes in the morning. 18. Laundry Services 2. Coin-operated machines.
Mr. Reynolds bought some detergent from a vending machine in the guest laundry. He loaded his dirty clothes into the washing machine and poured the detergent in. He turned the temperature dial to select a warm wash and inserted coins in the coin slot. 20 minutes later, he took his wet clothes out of the washing machine. He put them in the dryer. He chose the temperature and pushed the start button. The dryer took 1 hour. Mr. Reynolds unloaded his clean clothes from the dryer.
19. Housekeeping 1. Dealing with damage in a room. Susan, a housekeeper, discovered damage in one of the rooms. She called maintenance,
Hello, maintenance?
and they took away the broken items. She filled out an inventory of damaged hotel property. She wrote a report
I found the room in a disgusting state.
and filed it with the hotel manager. 20. Housekeeping 2. Bringing extra amenities to the room.
Mr. Reynolds dialed 0 to speak to the switchboard operator.
Front desk.
He asked to be connected to housekeeping.
I'm trying to reach housekeeping, please.
He identified himself.
This is Mr. Reynolds in room 1451.
He asked for extra pillows. He also needed a complimentary toothbrush. The housekeeper offered to bring him the items.
I'll be right there.
The housekeeper knocked on Mr. Reynolds' door.
Housekeeping.
21. Housekeeping 3. Cleaning a room. Susan did not open this door. She used her master key to enter an unoccupied room. First, she cleaned the bathroom with a sponge. Then, she made the bed. Next, she dusted the table with a duster. After that, she emptied the wastebasket. She replaced the dirty towels with clean towels. Finally, she vacuumed the carpet with her vacuum cleaner. When she had finished, she checked the room off on her clipboard. 22. Room Service 1. Taking an order.
Ms. Perrin wanted to have dinner in her room, so she dialed room service. Cody answered the phone.
Room service, how may I help you?
Nancy identified herself
Hello, this is Nancy Perrin in room 819.
and ordered a Caesar salad from the room service menu.
I'd like a Caesar salad, please.
Cody asked what size she would like.
Certainly, ma'am. A large salad or just a side salad?
A large salad, please. Large enough to be a dinner in itself.
Cody confirmed the order and entered it into the computer.
Right, a large Caesar salad.
He asked Nancy if she would like anything else.
Would you like anything else, ma'am? Some wine, perhaps, or some other beverage?
I'll just have some mineral water, please.
Cody quoted the price and estimated a delivery time.
Thank you, ma'am. That will be $12.35 with tax. Your meal should reach you in about 30 minutes. 23. Room Service 2. Delivering an order. Cody put a clean tablecloth on a cart. and arranged food and some utensils on a tray that he put on the cart. He wheeled the cart to a room. He knocked on the door and identified himself when Nancy came to the door.
Yes?
Room service. He took the tray of food off the cart and placed it on the coffee table. He removed the covers from the food. He opened her mineral water and poured it into a glass. He ground some fresh pepper onto her salad. He asked if everything was satisfactory. Does everything look okay? Nancy asked if she could add some soup to the order.
I hate to do this to you, but is it too late to order some chicken soup too?
Not at all, ma'am. We can get that to you in about 10 minutes. That will add about $3.50 to your bill. Cody called the addition down to the kitchen. Joe, this is Cody. I'm delivering to 819 and we need a bowl of chicken soup. 10 minutes? Great. Nancy signed for the meal. Ma'am, would you like to sign this to charge the order to your room?
Oh, yes, thanks.
Cody put the food covers on the cart and walked toward the door. Have a pleasant dinner, ma'am. That soup should be here very soon. Nancy thanked him and gave him a tip.
Well, thanks very much for the great service. This is for you.
24. Taking messages for a guest.
Alberto answered the phone. Pine Ridge Hotel, may I help you? The caller asked for Ms. Perrin.
I'd like to speak to one of your guests, Nancy Perrin.
Alberto asked the caller to wait a moment. Certainly. One moment while I look that up. Alberto searched for Ms. Perrin in the guest database. Alberto tried to connect the caller to Ms. Perrin's room. Just one moment, please. But Ms. Perrin was out. Alberto offered to take a message. I'm sorry, she is not in her room. May I take a message? Alberto wrote down the message and put a note in Ms. Perrin's mailbox.
25. Serving a guest in the gift shop. Sam Monroe visited the hotel gift shop. The clerk offered to help him.
Good morning. May I help you?
Mr. Monroe wanted to buy some postcards. I'm just looking at these postcards, thanks. He picked out 2 postcards. He also chose a present for his son. The clerk rang up the purchases on the cash register. Mr. Monroe paid in cash. The clerk gave him his change. 26. The guest's experience, signing for drinks and snacks.
Mr. Porter went to the hotel bar. He caught the bartender's attention. Mr. Porter ordered a glass of whiskey. He also asked for a snack.
Could I have some peanuts?
The bartender left the check with Mr. Porter. Mr. Porter wrote his room number on the check and signed it. Then he left a tip for the bartender.
27. The guest's experience, using the business center. Ms. Randall went to the hotel's business center. She logged onto the computer with her room number. She checked her email. She searched for some information on the internet. She did some word processing and printed a document out. She photocopied the document and then sent a fax to her office. 28. The guest experience, in-room entertainment.
Mr. Reynolds turned on the television. He changed the channel, and he adjusted the volume. Then the kids played a video game. Mrs. Reynolds read the TV guide. She pressed the menu button. The family chose a pay-per-view movie. They all watched the movie together. Then Mr. Reynolds turned off the TV.
29. The guest's experience, using the family pool. The Carini family asked for pool towels at the front desk. They went into the changing rooms and changed into their swimsuits. Mr. Carini dove into the pool. Mrs. Carini put armbands on her daughter to help her stay afloat. Her son climbed down the steps at the shallow end of the pool. Mrs. Carini relaxed in the whirlpool. Mr. Carini swam laps. They all got out of the pool and dried themselves with their towels. 30. The guest's experience, using the fitness center. 1. In the gym.
Sandra went to the fitness center to work out. To warm up, she did some stretches. Then she did some aerobic exercises by riding a stationary bike, using a stair-stepper, and running on a treadmill. For upper body strength, she lifted weights. She cooled down, and then went back to her room to take a shower.
2. At the lap pool.
Sam Monroe went to the locker room by the pool and put his swimsuit on. He hung his street clothes in the locker. He dove into the pool and swam some laps. After he got out of the pool, he dried himself off with a towel. Back at the locker room, he took a shower and got dressed.
31. The guest's experience at the executive lounge. 1. In the evening. At the reception desk in the executive lounge, Sam gave his room number to the hostess.
Welcome, sir. Which room number?
I'm in 204. He took a newspaper off the rack and sat down in an armchair near the window. He looked out the window and enjoyed a view of the city. At 6 o'clock, the cocktail hour started.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're all welcome to have cocktails and some snacks if you would like.
The attendant set up a buffet of hors d'oeuvres and a small self-service bar. 2. In the morning. There was a breakfast buffet in the lounge. Sam ordered an omelet from the cook. "Could I have an omelet? Cheese, tomato, and green pepper, please." And asked one of the attendants for a cup of coffee. "Could I just have some coffee, please, with milk?" He took some fruit and some pastries from the buffet and sat at the table to eat his breakfast. While Sam got a refill of his coffee,
Should I top that off for you, sir?
another guest checked out of the hotel at the service desk in the lounge.
"I'd like to check out, please."
Unit 4. In the restaurant. 32. Taking a restaurant reservation by phone.
Emma answered the phone.
Good afternoon. The Grill Room Restaurant. How may I help you?
The caller asked for a reservation later in the day.
Yes, hello. My name is Mike Gordon. I'd like to make a reservation for the evening.
And gave some details about the time and the size of the party.
There are 4 of us, and we'd like a table at about 7.
Emma checked the reservation log on her computer. She told the caller that a table for 4 was available then.
Yes, Mr. Gordon. We have some very nice window tables for 4 at 7 o'clock.
She asked about his seating preferences,
Would you like smoking or non?
and he requested a special service.
It's my wife's birthday. Could you put a bouquet of a dozen red roses on the table?
Certainly, Mr. Gordon. We'll just add that to your bill.
Emma noted the request and confirmed the details of the reservation.
So, we'll see you at 7 o'clock this evening, Mr. Gordon. The roses will be on the table before you're seated.
Thank you very much. Bye. 33. Accommodating guests who have no reservation. Ms. Lopez walked up to the hostess station. Emma, the hostess, asked her if she had a reservation.
Do you have a reservation? No, I don't.
Emma asked for the number of people in Ms. Lopez's party.
How many are in your party?
She needed a table for 6.
Eventually, there will be 6 of us.
Emma checked the waiting list and estimated the wait for a table.
It will be about 10 minutes.
That will be fine.
She took Ms. Lopez's name and suggested that she wait in the bar.
You can find a seat in the bar while you wait.
34. Explaining that no table is available.
Mr. and Mrs. Reynolds went to the hotel restaurant. They hadn't reserved a table.
Do you have reservations?
No.
There were no tables available,
I'm afraid we're very full at the moment.
and the waiting list was very long.
I'm sorry. There will be at least an hour's wait.
Mrs. Reynolds could not wait.
Jeff, we need to eat sooner than that.
The hostess showed them a list of other local restaurants.
Maybe I can help you find another restaurant.
They chose a nearby Italian restaurant. The hostess called the Italian restaurant for them.
May I reserve a table, please?
35. Seating guests. Emma, the hostess, checked the porter's name on her reservation list. She found their table on the seating chart.
Right. Here we are.
She picked up 2 menus and led the porters to their table. She held the chair for Mrs. Porter. Emma gave them menus and offered Mr. Porter the wine list. She wished them a pleasant meal.
Enjoy your meal.
36. Taking a beverage order and serving beverages.
Katie introduced herself
My name is Katie.
I'll be your server today.
and took their beverage order.
Can I get you something to drink?
Yes, I'd like whatever light beer you have, and my wife will have some orange juice on the rocks and some water, please.
She poured 2 glasses of water and walked the beverage order up to the bar.
I have the water right here. I'll just go and place your order while you look at the menu.
The bartender filled Katie's beverage order for her, and she returned to the table with a tray of drinks. She placed Mr. Porter's bottle of beer on the table and set a beer glass next to it. He poured his own beer while Katie gave Mrs. Porter her orange juice. Before she left, she refilled their water glasses.
I'll give you some time to look at the menu, and I'll be back in a moment.
37. Taking a meal order. Katie checked that the porters were ready to order.
Are you ready to order?
She wrote the table number, the number of guests, and her server number on the check. First, she took Mrs. Porter's order.
For you, madame?
Then Mr. Porter ordered his entree. I'll have the steak. She asked Mr. Porter how he liked his steak cooked. Medium rare. Katie wrote down the order on the check. She took their menus and put the order into the kitchen. 38. Serving food.
Katie brought dinner salads and a basket of bread to the porter's table. She said that their entrees would be ready soon.
It should be just a few more minutes for your steak and your lobster.
Sounds good.
The chef called that the porter's order was up. Table 21. Katie loaded the plates onto a tray. She carried the tray and a fold-out stand to the porter's table. She set the tray down on the stand. She served the entrees. Katie checked to see that everything was all right.
Will there be anything else right now?
Yes, could I have some steak sauce, please?
And wished them a pleasant meal.
Certainly, sir. I'll be right back with that. I hope you enjoy your dinner.
39. Serving wine. Katie brought the porter's bottle of wine to their table. She held the bottle for Mr. Porter so he could read the label. That looks right. She pulled out her corkscrew and removed the foil from the top of the bottle. Katie screwed the corkscrew into the middle of the cork and pulled the cork out. She handed the cork to Mr. Porter so he could check it. Looks fine to me. Then she poured a small amount into his wine glass so he could taste it. He approved. Oh, yes, this tastes really good. So Katie poured glasses of wine for the porters. 40. Taking dessert and coffee orders.
Katie cleared the plates and silverware.
I'll get these out of your way.
She gave the porters dessert menus.
Here are some dessert menus.
Mrs. Porter didn't want a dessert,
Not for me, thanks. I'm full.
but Mr. Porter ordered the cheesecake.
That cheesecake sounds really good.
Katie offered them coffee.
Would you like some coffee?
Sure. Decaf, please.
No, thanks.
And poured a cup of decaffeinated coffee for Mrs. Porter. She collected a fork from the server's station and brought Mr. Porter's cheesecake.
41. Taking payment at the table. Mr. Porter signaled to the waitress to bring the bill. Katie keyed the order in at the register. The computer printed the bill. Katie put the bill in a folder and handed it to Mr. Porter.
I'll take this whenever you are ready.
Mr. Porter read the bill and took out his credit card. He gave the card and bill to the waitress. Katie entered the amount of the bill into the credit card reader and swiped Mr. Porter's credit card through the reader. The reader printed a credit card slip. Katie gave Mr. Porter the charge slip and a pen. Mr. Porter added a tip and signed on the bottom line. Katie took the merchant's copy and put it in the cash register. 42. Taking payment at a register. 1. A satisfied customer.
Mr. Reynolds took his bill to the cashier. He handed the bill to Emma, who entered the amount in the cash register. She asked Mr. Reynolds which form of payment he was using.
Cash, check, or credit card?
Mr. Reynolds chose to pay in cash. "I'll pay cash." Emma gave him his change.
Okay, out of 30. Here's 18, 19, 20, and 30.
Mr. Reynolds returned to the table to leave a tip. Emma thanked Mr. Reynolds and said goodbye.
Thank you.
43. Taking payment at a register. 2. A dissatisfied customer. Sandra Randall did not enjoy her meal. She went to the cashier. She complained about the quality of her meal.
Excuse me, I'm not at all happy with my meal. My chicken was dry and overcooked.
The cashier contacted the restaurant manager. The manager apologized. "I'm very sorry, ma'am." The manager didn't charge Sandra for her entree. "Let me remove that charge from your bill." Sandra wrote a check for the new total.
Thank you for your understanding.
The manager informed the chef about the problem. "Edward, we had a very unhappy customer." 44. Taking payment at a register. 3. A credit card problem.
Emma, the cashier, swiped Sam Monroe's credit card through the card reader. However, the machine rejected the card. Emma retried the card, but the transaction failed again. Emma handed the card back to Sam.
I'm sorry, sir. This card is not working for some reason.
Sam realized that his card had expired.
"Oh, my mistake. This one is expired."
Sam took out a different card.
"Let's try another one."
The machine accepted the new card.
Unit 5. Concierge Services. 45. Explaining the details of a hotel tour. Sandra Randall asked about the hotel's tours.
Excuse me, I'm wondering about your tours.
Yes, ma'am.
Paul, the concierge, explained the route of the tour.
And then we'll go along historic Newgate Street.
He said they would travel by coach. A guide would describe the sights of the city.
If you look to your right,
They would stop at the museum and eat a box lunch in the park. Miss Randall reserved her place on the tour. The concierge gave her a ticket. 46. Advising guests about nearby restaurants.
Mr. Smith asked the concierge about local restaurants.
"Hi, do you have a list of good restaurants near here?"
The concierge showed him a list of some. Certainly, sir. Mr. Smith was looking for a Mexican restaurant.
"I was thinking of a Mexican place."
The concierge showed him the location of a restaurant on a map. There is a very good one about 3 miles from here, sir, and gave him a bus schedule. Mr. Smith checked his watch and hurried out of the hotel to catch the bus.
47. Arranging for a taxi and courtesy car. Mrs. Porter called the concierge to book a taxi.
I need to go downtown. I think I should get a taxi.
Paul, the concierge, asked her what time she required the taxi.
What time would you like to arrive downtown, Mrs. Porter?
At about 7 o'clock.
Paul called for a taxi. Then the Reynolds family came to the concierge desk. They needed a courtesy car to the airport. Paul went outside to speak to the courtesy car driver. He opened the car door and put the suitcases in the trunk. 48. Booking the hotel for future conferences.
Sandra Randall went to see the hotel's event planner, Beatrice Chan. She gave her business card to Beatrice
I'm Sandra Randall.
and explained the nature of her request.
I'd like to ask about booking a conference here in May.
Beatrice checked her calendar and penciled in Sandra's conference. Beatrice took out a booking form and filled in the details of the conference. Finally, she gave Sandra a price quote.
I think we can put everything together for between 12 and 15,000, not including lodging.
49. Directing guests to facilities near the hotel. Mrs. Porter wanted to go jogging. Paul showed her a street map of the area. He marked a route on the map.
Then you can head east again on the Cold Creek Path.
Mr. Porter asked about sightseeing. I'd like to explore the area. Any ideas? The concierge gave him an information leaflet.
There is a lot to see, sir. This lists some popular spots.
And a map of the subway system. He circled the station where Mr. Porter would get off.
You'll get off at Carberry Street. That's near a lot of things.
And pointed him toward the nearest station. 50. Handling a request for child care.
Paul answered a call from Mr. Reynolds about child care. Concierge?
Hi, we need to find a babysitter tonight for our 2 children.
Paul mentioned the free child care that the hotel provides. We have a free child care center, our kids club, until 7:30 in the evening. Mr. Reynolds said he needed something later than that.
Yes, I heard about that from the front desk. I'm afraid we'll be out much later, from 6 to about 10.
Paul suggested an alternative. Then perhaps one of our on-call child care workers would be available. Let me check. He found out that a child care worker would be available. Yes, we have several on-call people available tonight. Would you like to book someone from 6 until 10? Mr. Reynolds was worried about the quality of the child care, and Paul reassured him.
Are they dependable? What qualifications do they have?
They have to have a license from the state to work for us, sir. They are very good. Paul explained the charges. There is a nominal fee, sir. These child care workers charge $10, but the guest and the hotel split that. You would pay $5 an hour, and the hotel would match it. Mr. Reynolds decided to book someone.
Sounds good. Could you send the sitter up to room 1451 by 6? We'd need someone to stay until 10 or 10:30.
Paul confirmed the booking and said he would arrange things. Right. We'll arrange for a sitter to come to room 1451 at 6, and we'll specify that the job might last as late as 10:30.
51. Lost and found. Someone left an umbrella in the restaurant. Katie brought it to the concierge desk and explained what happened.
Paul, this was left in the restaurant. What should we do with it?
The lost and found box is behind the front desk.
Paul took it to the front desk and asked them to put it in the lost and found.
Pat, this needs to go in the box. Someone left it in the restaurant.
Later, Sandra Randall approached Paul to ask about the umbrella.
Excuse me, I think I lost my umbrella somewhere in the hotel.
Paul walked with her to the front desk.
I think there are umbrellas in Lost and Found. Let's go check.
She described the umbrella.
It's got a kind of Burberry plaid pattern.
Pat went back to the lost and found box and picked out the umbrella. Sandra said that it was hers.
Oh, yes, that's it. Thank you, thank you.
So Pat handed it over to her.
Here you go, ma'am. I'm glad we could help.
Unit 6. Dealing with problems. 52. Helping a guest who is injured.
Mr. Porter was taking the stairs to the lobby when he tripped and fell down the stairs.
Oh!
He called for help.
Help!
Maria heard the noise.
Let me help you, sir. Are you injured?
Mr. Porter said where he was injured.
I think I did something to my ankle.
Maria tried to make Mr. Porter comfortable and keep him from moving.
Right. Let's take it easy and not move too much. Here, let me put this cushion under your head.
She called the emergency services.
We have an injured guest at the Pine Ridge Hotel. Please get a crew here right away.
And soon an ambulance arrived.
'53. Getting medical care for a guest. Mrs. Reynolds' son, Brian, was feeling sick. He had a fever and a bad cough. Mrs. Reynolds called the front desk. She explained the problem to Pat.
It's my son.
Pat suggested taking Brian to the ER.
We could take him to the emergency room at Barton Hospital.
Or to an urgent care clinic.
Or to one of the clinics near here.
Mrs. Porter wanted a doctor to see Brian.
No, I don't think he should go anywhere. Can we get a doctor to come here?
Pat called around to find a doctor who was on call. 54. Dealing with noisy guests.
Mr. Monroe couldn't sleep because of the noise next door. He banged on the wall, but the noise didn't stop. Mr. Monroe called the front desk and reported the noise.
And it's so loud that I can't sleep.
Alberto knocked on the door of the noisy guests. A man opened the door. Yes? Alberto asked him to turn down the volume on the television. I'm sorry, sir, but the TV is disturbing other guests. He explained that it was late. It's after midnight. The man apologized and lowered the TV volume. Sorry.
55. Advising a guest about safe storage. Mr. Monroe called the front desk to ask about keeping his briefcase secure. I have some valuables. I need to keep them somewhere safe. He kept important documents, his passport, and some other valuables in his briefcase. The clerk suggested the safe in the room.
You could use the room safe.
With a combination lock. But the briefcase didn't fit in the safe. The safe is too small. On Pat's suggestion, he took his valuables to the front desk.
Then we can store your valuables in the hotel safe, sir.
At the front desk, he filled out a description of the contents of his briefcase. Alberto stored the briefcase in the hotel safe. 56. The guest's experience reporting a problem.
The Porters returned to their room and found water on the floor. Mr. Porter dialed 0 to call the front desk. Mr. Porter reported the problem to Alberto.
My bathroom is flooded.
Alberto completed a maintenance report and called the maintenance department. Maintenance? A maintenance worker went immediately to the Porter's room. He fixed the leak and mopped up the water.
Unit 7. Checking out. 57. The guest's experience. Getting ready to leave the hotel. Marin packed her clothes into her suitcases. She took her toiletries from the bathroom. She closed the suitcases and called the front desk. A bellhop came to her room and loaded the suitcases onto a trolley. She checked the closet and the drawers and picked up the room keys. 58. Checking a guest out. A dispute about the bill.
The night clerk slipped Ms. Lopez's express checkout bill under her door. Ms. Lopez checked the bill and found a problem. When she was ready to check out, she showed the bill to Pat. She disputed the charge for a local call. Pat showed Ms. Lopez the fees in the service directory. Pat canceled the phone charge and printed out a new bill. Ms. Lopez signed to charge the new amount to her credit card.
59. Exchanging currency. At checkout, Sandra asked about getting some foreign currency.
Could I get some Malaysian ringgit, please?
The posted exchange rates showed that she could exchange $27 for 100 ringgit. She was paying with her traveler's checks, so Rob asked to see her passport. He filled in some fields in the automatic currency converter and entered the amount of the traveler's checks. Sandra countersigned the checks. Rob counted out Sandra's money and gave it to her along with her passport. 60. Storing luggage after checkout.
Marin Carini and her family were checking out, but they still had several hours before their flight. They asked to leave their luggage at the hotel.
Is there some way for us to store our luggage?
Pat gave Marin some luggage tags. Marin filled in her name and the date. The bellhop put the suitcases in the hotel's luggage check. He gave Marin the claim checks. Marin and her family left to enjoy their day.
61. The guest experience, leaving the hotel. Sam Monroe checked out of the hotel.
Thank you for staying with us.
Alberto asked Sam to fill out a comment card.
Would you fill this out, sir?
Sam checked the boxes on the questionnaire and wrote a comment at the end. Very satisfied. He dropped the card in a box. Sam asked about the complimentary airport shuttle. When's the next shuttle? The next shuttle would leave in 5 minutes. Sam waited in the lobby until the shuttle arrived.
Airport.